Tiny Epic Kingdoms, 2nd edition, just the base game. So what I'm going to be doing here is making a tier list of the races in Tiny Epic Kingdoms. I'm going to be starting from the bottom and I'm going to work my way up. So the first race here that we're going to talk about is going to be the humans. So I would put the humans in a C tier because pretty much they're just good at trading. They don't have anything really useful about them, like nothing where you can really leverage their advantage. So I'm gonna just put them in the C tier. We also got the Hobbits next to them. They're really good at making peace, and later on they can backstab their allies, but it's kind of limiting in terms of what kind of strategies you can play as that race. So ultimately, it's not the best. Valkyries. So their abilities encourage you to kind of retreat at some point and take your meeples off the board. And that takes away from your board presence, which is really bad because it gives you also less resources. Um, but I guess if you want to retreat, that's a good way of doing it. But that doesn't happen often, so that's not really super useful. Merfolk. So they're good around water, and I would say that their abilities are pretty good. The level 1 and level 2 abilities are pretty influential early game if you move around a lot. But they're kind of limited, and well, I guess they're good, but they're just kind of overall good. Let's go ahead and move on to the B tier. I'm gonna put the Undead there. The Undead are pretty good because it costs them a lot less food to come back alive. Um, and it depends how good they are on a number of players because if there's more players, more meeples die and they get more corn. But regardless, it makes it easy for them to make more meeples and to just keep on expanding. Um, Next we have also the centaurs. So the main benefit the centaurs have, in my opinion, is the ability where they can expand without having to patrol to an area next to them, and that allows them to expand and then collect resources without having to patrol or quest. Another benefit they have is at I think level 3 they can redistribute their meeples, which is great because if you have a meeple that's lying down, maybe if they're in the ruins or something, um, when you reach level 3 you can move that meeple without having to take up 2 abilities. So they're pretty quick, but I mean their higher level abilities aren't that good. Alright, next we have the shapeshifters. Their main advantage is also the biggest con, which is that they can adapt. So if you're stuck in a situation without many options, you can adapt by upgrading your level, your magic level, and then you have to use new strategies. But it can also put you in a situation where you're in a very shitty situation, like way worse. So yeah, that's why they're in a B tier. Next, we're gonna put the elves in the A tier. The elves are good because they just focus on getting magic and forests, depending on if there's other races that need forests as badly as they do, like the night elves. Is how useful that might be. But it makes it easy for them to build, to expand, to research, to retreat, because they can use stars as anything. Next we have the orcs, one of the few races that like to go to war. And they can use corn in war, which is super useful. So that means they can change how they value, their board control. If they can use corn in war, that means they don't have to give it up. Next we have goblins. They're good because they can move around the board pretty quickly, and they have a lot of mobility. You have a lot of options with them generally. Um, when you have more options, that's generally a good thing. Okay, next we also have the dwarves. And the dwarves just build their tower. They just chill and build their tower. So it makes it really easy to decide what to do. You don't want to go to war, you don't want to do anything, you just want to build your tower. And once you build your tower enough, you pretty much win. Yep. Alright, next we got the, I would say the Night Elves. The Night Elves are good because there's a strategy you can do where you don't expand and you just chill in a forest and a ruins, or two forests. I don't know, but you just chill in there and collect resources when you can, and you don't expand, and maybe trade every once in a while, and then you can build up your tower and you can research, and no one can invade you, so you're pretty much secure. You just kind of chill. That's what Night Elves do. But to be honest, I would put the Lizard Folk above the Night Elves because they have an ability that lets them swap spots with another player, and if there's a kingdom on the board somewhere, they just swap spots with that kingdom, and that's a point change. That's a 4 points change. So the enemy lost 2 points and you gained 2 points because you took the kingdom. And if you swap spots like that, you could pretty much change the whole game. Happens often. So that's my tier list for Tiny Epic Kingdoms. Stay tuned for the expansion once I get more experience in playing that game.